Ever wondered if those, really deep insights always need hours of explanation? Or can just a few words sometimes hit you with that profound understanding?
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of the question we're exploring today.
We're doing a deep dive into the story of Sumana Devi.
hmm It comes from these ancient texts, collections of stories tied into Buddhist teachings, and we really want to focus on her last words, which were, well, very brief.
And what the Buddha said about them afterwards, right?
Right. The mission here is to see how maybe deep spiritual understanding doesn't always need long, drawn-out explanation to really land. Sometimes less is more, perhaps.
Okay, so let's get our bearings. The story happens in Savatthi, and you have this major figure, Anathapindika, incredibly wealthy, a huge supporter of the Buddha and the monks.
And also Visakha, another really key disciple. Between them, they were basically providing daily meals for thousands of monks at the Jeta Grove Monastery, a massive undertaking.
Wow, thousands daily. And they weren't just, writing checks, were they? Their opinion mattered.
Oh, absolutely. For any big donations, people often sought their advice. They really understood the monks' needs, what would genuinely help their practice.
Because they were so involved with the monastery itself, they actually didn't get to host monks at their own homes very often, interestingly.
That's right. So they delegated. Visakha and Anathapindika relied on their granddaughters for that responsibility.
And Anathapindika appointed his daughters one by one. First, Mahasabha, then Kalasapa.
And finally, the youngest, Sumana Devi, who's our focus.
It's interesting that the older two sisters, the texts mention they reached a certain level of spiritual attainment.
Yes, both became Sotapannas, or stream enterers. That's like the first major breakthrough, getting that first direct glimpse of the ultimate truth. They achieved this before they got married and left home.
Okay, so that sets a precedent. Then comes Sumana Devi, and she goes even further.
She does. After hearing the Dharma, the teachings, she attains the next level, Sakadagami, or once returner. A significant step up.
But then, well, things take a sad turn. She becomes ill.
Yeah, the story says she was quite weak, partly because she'd been restricting food. And in this state, she asks to see her father, Anathapindika.
And this is where that really unusual exchange happens. He comes to her bedside, asks, what is it, Sumana, my dear?
And her reply is just, younger brother.
Younger brother. To her father. You can imagine his reaction.
Total confusion. He asks if she's delirious, maybe if she's afraid of dying.
But she denies it.
Firmly. Just repeats, younger brother. And that's basically it. That's the whole conversation before she passes away. So brief, so strange on the surface.
Wow. And Anathapindika, even though he himself was a stream enterer, he's devastated.
Understandably. Deep grief, but also deep confusion. He goes to the Buddha.
And he's worried, isn't he? He tells the Buddha, my virtuous daughter, she seemed to lose her mindfulness right at the end, talking nonsense. He's concerned about her state of mind as she died.
Exactly. He recounts that very short dialogue. I asked this, she said that. Simple as that.
So what does the Buddha say?
Well, first, he asks Anathapindika to confirm exactly what she said.
Okay, so he repeats it. Younger brother.
And then the Buddha gives this incredible explanation. He says, essentially, no, she wasn't delirious at all, not in the slightest.
So why younger brother?
Because spiritually, she was more advanced. As a Sakadagami, a once returner, she had realized a deeper level of truth than her father, the stream enterer.
Ah, so it wasn't about age or family ties in that moment. It was about her spiritual attainment, her understanding of the Dharma.
Precisely. Attaining these higher paths and fruits, it signifies a kind of maturity or seniority, wisdom. It can shift perspectives, even override conventional roles.
That's quite a perspective shift. Yeah. And Anathapindika gets it.
He does. He accepts the Buddha's explanation. It clarifies things for him.
But he has another question, right? Where did she go? Where was she reborn?
Yes, a natural question for a grieving father. The Buddha tells him she was reborn in the Tusita heaven.
Which is a good place.
Oh yes, a very happy, fortunate realm. Known as a place where future Buddhas often reside before their final birth.
So Anathapindika observes, she was happy here with us, and now she's happy there.
And that's the prompt for the Buddha to deliver this key teaching, encapsulated in a single verse. It's really powerful in its brevity.
Okay, let's hear it.
The verse goes, here one rejoices, hereafter one rejoices. One who has done meritorious deeds rejoices in both existences. One rejoices thinking, I have done meritorious deeds, having gone to a good destination, one rejoices exceedingly.
It sounds simple but deep. Here one rejoices, hereafter one rejoices.
Exactly. And the Buddha breaks it down. Here means this life, this world. You rejoice because of the good things you do.
Through your actions, your merit. Okay.
Hereafter is the next life. You rejoice because of the results of those good actions, experiencing a happy rebirth.
So the person who does good deeds, meritorious deeds, they get joy in both places.
Right. In both existences. There's the joy in this life just from knowing you've done good, you haven't done harm. That inner satisfaction, that's the thinking I have done meritorious deeds.
Like a clear conscience, but maybe even deeper than that.
Yes, a kind of mental happiness, a lightness. And then when you get to that good destination, like the Tusita heaven Sumana Devi reached.
You rejoice exceedingly.
Immensely, experiencing that great heavenly bliss, which the texts say lasts for a very, very long time. It's a profound consequence of a life well lived.
And again, all that meaning packed into just a few lines of verse.
That's the thing. And the impact was immediate. The text says right after the Buddha explained this, many people listening had their own spiritual breakthroughs, stream entry, other attainments.
So it wasn't just comforting Anathapindika, it was a catalyst for others, which really highlights the point, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both Sumana Devi's final words and the Buddha's verse, incredibly concise, yet incredibly potent. It shows that profound understanding doesn't always need, pages and pages. Sometimes the shortest phrases carry the most weight.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, Sumana Devi's younger brother wasn't confusion. It was, in fact, a sign of her deeper spiritual insight.
Right. A reflection of her progress. And the Buddha's short verse about rejoicing here and hereafter perfectly captured the fruits of a virtuous life.
And for you listening, maybe wanting that deep knowledge without getting bogged down, this story is kind of perfect, isn't it?
It really speaks to that. Brief insights, concise statements, they can be incredibly powerful, maybe even more illuminating sometimes than long, complex explanations.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What simple things said in our own lives, maybe interactions we dismiss, might actually hold something deeper.
Yeah, are there moments of concise communication, maybe even seemingly odd phrases like Sumana Devi's, that actually point to a profound understanding lying just beneath the surface?
Definitely something to think about. Maybe we don't always need the long version to get the real message.